After all this time. I don't know how this song goes anymore.
Is it me you're looking for?
No, not that one. Not the Lionel Richie one.
There you go.
That's the only Hello song I know.
Go.
Hey, MMA Maniacs. It's time once again for your weekly MMA podcast called Split Decision, brought to you from the Ruloff Family Inc. studios. Bueller, Dodge, and Dennis ready to break you off some blank screens here because we are having internet connectivity issues.
No, we are not.
But we are going to give you all the
No,
news.
it's not us. It's the sites we're trying to get on.
But that's us interfacing with it. So we're still having problems.
Interface issues.
We're having internet
Usually don't have that problem.
internet dysfunction. ID. Yeah.
And we're having trust issues with other sites.
Yeah.
So we're going to
Never
break
know
you
if it's real or not.
break you off some
It's a real story.
MMA news
real story?
and some like bait and all that good stuff. Yeah. With that being said and done, we're just going to go ahead and jump into it here from MyMMAnews.com. Tyrone Woodley calling out Nick Diaz for UFC 209.
He went on Twitter and said that obviously Nick Diaz is now free to fight.
He finally got everything cleared up.
Everything is cleared up, and that's who he wants. Now, he said this before he fought Wonder Boy the first time. This is a fight that he wanted because he's a name. He's a needle mover. And so now he's saying, hey, UFC 209 to be coming up.
Yeah, but he's supposed to fight Wonder Boy again.
Let me fight Nick Diaz.
Nope.
He's free. I think that'd be a good fight.
But he's listed at 185.
Nope.
Nick?
Nope. Yeah.
Why would he be listed at 185?
I looked him up. He's listed at 185. When we were having our text conversation about this, he was listed at 185.
What?
Why wouldn't he be listed at 185? When he
Because
knocked
he's
out...
always fought at 170?
Has he?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, okay, take it back. He fought Anderson Silva
Yeah.
at 185. He did fight, I think, in Elite XC, maybe Strikeforce at 185.
I don't know. I went to one site, had him listed at 185 from... I swear.
One site.
I only went to one. I wasn't going to fucking cycle through a bunch. I went through, I said, what weight is Nick Diaz? Site popped up, said Nick Diaz, 185, 2014 to present.
Did it have a picture of him?
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Did it have some other clickbait titles
No,
next
it
to
did not. And you'll never guess what happens next.
It's shocking.
It's what next with his weight will shock you. What is it? It should just say up there in his stats. Up
It
top.
says he fought multiple weight classes. It shows all the weight classes.
Fuck it,
he's
whatever.
fought.
It doesn't matter because he's getting challenged by Tyrone Woodley anyway
At 170.
At 170. So
There you go. There's one middleweight belt. So
Damn.
Anderson Silva. The one before that, his loss to George St. Pierre for the welterweight championship.
All right, man.
The one before that, his loss to the interim
I don't know what
championship.
side I went to that apparently has no credibility and just has clickbaity and like-baity stuff.
Oh, Strikeforce, welterweight.
You probably went to like.
Oh, Strikeforce, there's a 180.
See? That's a thing.
That's the thing.
He also fought at lightweight.
See? That's a thing, too. Whatever, man.
Whatever.
It's still happening. It's getting called out at 170 for UFC 209.
Would you like to see Tyrone Woodley fight Nick Diaz?
Do you really think Nick Diaz is coming
at
back
170
for the title?
for the title?
No, he's not coming back and getting a
At
title
UFC
shot.
209.
He's not getting a title shot when he comes back.
Why not?
It's not going to happen.
He's only one fight removed from a title shot. It
doesn't matter.
He lost George St. Pierre at a title shot.
I understand.
He fought Anderson Silva to a no contest because he smoked the demon weed and Anderson Silva was on sex pills.
Yeah, exactly. Internet dysfunction.
Should have called that the high and hard one.
the high and hard one. When they have a rematch is what it's going to be called.
There you go.
Well, because UFC 206 right now is UFC cursed.
Yeah, no kidding.
Dude.
We'll get to that here in a little bit later. Conor McGregor.
I don't see that fight happening. To go back to that, no,
Don't
I don't
see
see
it
that
happening,
happening. Would I
ever.
love to see Nick and Nate both on UFC 209? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But we'll see.
I got some news where I can read you the title and we can talk about it. But
Yeah, let's
I
do
can't
that.
have the actual story because for some reason the internet doesn't want to work.
All right, so we
Don Fry was in a medically induced coma.
and he's out now.
And he's out and doing well.
Yeah, they were asking for T's and P's on Reddit.
Getting back on track. And they said, "How do you feel about this?" And he goes, "Oh, I'll be back. I'm Don Fry."
Back to doing what?
I can't
Drinking
believe
whiskey
you.
and
I
doing
can't
videos?
believe you doubted it.
Right?
And then Gary Good. Apparently, what the story I read on Reddit was actually kind of funny. Gary Goodridge was the one who was collecting the T's and P's from everybody and taking them to Don Fry. But apparently, Gary Goodridge has dementia.
Yeah. I was like, did he take him for himself?
No, he took him to Don Fry. But the problem was,
Was it the right Don Fry?
I don't know.
Hopefully nobody sent a blowjob.
So apparently the guy who was telling all this stuff to Gary Goodridge and like, talking about how sending him messages saying, hey, tell Don Fry he's a legend, tell Don Fry this, tell Don Fry all that.
He thought he was talking to him?
No, didn't preface it with like basically from what I understood, and this is just me interpreting what I read, was like apparently Gary Goodridge was upset because he forgot he was taking these to Don Fry and thought people were just messaging him stuff to go tell somebody else they were awesome and not him.
Stop laughing. Don't laugh.
It's funny.
Don't
It's
don't
funny.
laugh.
It is funny.
It's funny.
It's not funny.
It is funny.
Well, I don't. Is it funny? I don't remember.
It's humorous. Let's see what you did there.
So then the person who was delivering the message had to send Gary Goodrich a text specifically to tell him, no, you're awesome
Gary
too.
Goodrich, you are awesome. Please also tell John Fry he is awesome.
Because he's in a coma, remember? Oh, yeah. This
Yeah.
is just how I'm interpreting the events that I saw unfold in front of me.
Gary, when you go see Don because he's in coma,
Right.
you tell him.
Yeah.
Tell him that you're awesome, and then
awesome,
tell him
and
that you're
he's
awesome,
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Gary Goodrich needs to donate his brain to science.
Take these two awesomes.
I
give
think
one
that's
I mean, not now.
Not now, right, of course.
Uh,
We love you, Gary.
Tito Ortiz says his fight with Chael Sonnen will be his last fight.
All right.
He's going to retire.
I don't think he is.
Finally.
No.
No?
No. Don't see it happening. Tell me this. How did he go from being bankrupt after him and Jenna Jameson split up to like not having any money and to being able to buy a fucking Rolls Royce or Bentley recently? It's leased.
He's like, I'm Tito Ortiz. I'm good for it,
No,
right?
right?
Look at me. I'm good for it.
No, but he was also going to take, who was it?
I watched Entourage. They leased a Rolls Royce and they ended up having to give it back.
Was it Claudia Gadea? Who one of them was selling their motorcycle on Instagram.
We're going to
gonna
get
get
to
to
that.
that.
That was the next story that I can
And then
kinda
Tito
click, but not
Ortiz
click.
said he'd buy it for her or hold it for her and give her money.
Hold it for.
Because he knows a good consignment shop.
That's exactly what it is. I'm going to go consign your motorcycle for
I
you.
do have that. That is Carla Esparza,
Carla
who is
Esparza.
selling her Harley that she won on the Ultimate Fighter because she doesn't have any money.
'Cause she
She
doesn't have
says
any
she
money.
has 2 months worth of rent saved up, and that's it. 2 months
That's
worth
it.
of bills, not rent. 2 months worth of bills saved up. She can last for 2 more months. She needs to sell her Harley that she won, not because she wants to, because she has
Because
to.
she has to make it.
She's been offered a couple fights. It hasn't worked out in her favor. She has not been able to get a fight. Basically, what it comes down to is she was offered a title fight or a #1 contendership fight, and she said, "No, I've been off for a year. Give me a non-contendership fight, and then we'll see where I'm at."
And somebody jumped on the Instagram and came after her and said you wouldn't have a problem with money if you quit ducking fights.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she responded, I did take a fight with you. You're the one that missed weight once. You're the one that got sick the second time.
Lots
A lot
of
of
drama.
stuff. Lots of drama.
Tito
lots of
Ortiz,
drama.
like we said he would take the bike on consignment and give her money and then give her back the bike when she had money to pay back the loan.
I'm telling you, right? You
According
could
to
get rid
Chael
of Fox, CNN. Twitter's the new news source.
Yes, absolutely.
According to Chael Sonnen, Tito Ortiz doesn't have money, and that's why he's fighting him.
And I believe nothing Chael Sonnen says.
There's some good stories that he
Hey,
tells.
I
that are
trust him
true.
as far as I could throw him, bud, and my arms are getting weak.
that guy built himself off bullshit. I mean, come on, we'll be realistic.
He has some
here.
good stories.
He
got some
built
great
his
stories.
career on bullshit.
But I used to have a friend like this. He'll tell you 9 stories. And you'll want to call bullshit on all of them, but you know half of them are true.
Yeah.
And then you call bullshit on the wrong ones, and they're all true. So now you don't know if the rest of them are bullshit or not.
Right. Right.
But a friend of mine used to fucking tell me, oh yeah, no, he was in a movie with Oleg Tektarov and used to hang out with like fucking Ken Shamrock and Jerry Bonander and all these guys. This is way back in the day of MMA. And like I was like, he was talking about the movie and how Oleg was cheap, right?
Good old Oleg,
And
yeah.
Oleg didn't want to. He's like, hey, you want to go to lunch? And they jumped in Oleg's car and they fucking drove down to the movie set, right? Well, what happened was they were driving and they were driving for hours. And Isaac's like, fuck are we going, dude? And Oleg's like, oh, we're going to go to my movie set. I eat for free there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, where the fuck is that at? And it's like down in like Hollywood area, Burbank Studios or some shit. So
Go to the
apparently-
catering table.
Yeah, they drove for like 4.5, 5 hours to go get fucking lunch. And like while they're there, Isaac said the director came up and said I'm short a couple of guys, would you mind being in the movie? So then Isaac gets cast as 2 different bad guys that both fucking die in the movie on separate occasions, which that's how good of a movie it is. They killed the same person twice who's playing 2 different bad guys,
Yeah.
right?
Just put a mustache on him.
And so finally I'm listening to this and I'm hearing these stories about Jerry Bonander and Frank
like
Shamrock.
bullshit.
And I'm like, dude, you're full of shit. He's like, oh, okay. Oh, like the very next day I came over to his house.
Here's the DVD.
He popped the VHS in. He's like, oh, I got this movie. You want to watch it? Sure as shit. There's Isaac and Oleg fucking Tektarov right there in the movie. Here's my scene. Here's my other scene. Shut the fuck up. That's what Chael Sonnen is. You can't call bullshit on anything he says. Because you never know what might be true.
Never know. UFC new owners have laid off Chuck Liddell and Matt Hughes, which we said would probably be coming.
Right.
Dana White was recently, they asked him about this, and he goes, look, man, I held on to these guys because I'm a loyal guy. These guys helped build the company when we owned the company, when we had the money. And as long as I had the money and I was in control of finances, I was going to make sure they had a job doing whatever.
Doing whatever.
But I don't
Your
anymore.
personal Walmart door greeter.
I don't yet. Hi, I'm Chuck Liddell. Welcome to the UFC. Hi, I'm Chuck Liddell. Welcome to the UFC.
Hi, I'm Liddell. Chuck. Oh, man, I fucked that one up.
How do you guys make these jokes and not be scared? He's 6 hours away.
Is that with Siri guiding him here?
Is he on cold medicine again? I saw that interview.
Just jokes. Well, my question to you was, what about Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner, who Dana White verbally said would always have a position in the company?
Probably not anymore.
Probably not.
I'm just saying. I mean, the new owner is basically, Dana White's like, I'm sorry, I don't control the finances anymore.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. Good luck. But Matt Hughes is like, I got a farm. I'm good.
Right.
I'm doing well.
I wonder if Chuck Liddell will do another naked Reebok commercial.
Or just naked running in his apartment.
Thinking he's making a commercial?
He's making a commercial
I
on
was a
treadmill.
big fan of his battery commercials.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those were
I
awesome.
do miss those. I forgot about those.
Yeah.
What else we got? Conor McGregor is apparently going to be appearing on Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones writers and directors are huge fans of MMA.
One director specifically, a huge fan of Conor McGregor.
Huge fan of Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
They had that little sparring session with the Mountain,
Right.
where, of course, Conor tells it that he beat the Mountain.
I wish the Mountain would have got a hold of him.
And the Mountain just says, I was playing it easy for him.
That's what people online were saying, was that Conor's so upset that he lost to the Mountain that he's actually getting on the show to get revenge.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know exactly what it is, but
He's going to be a pirate.
Yeah, but I saw confirmation that he is going to be on the show.
On the ship Silence is the name of the ship. You want to know why?
No.
Because it's not Ramsey. I forget who the character is. Whoever the pirate is on the ship took out all their tongues.
Oh.
So yes, we will be seeing Conor McGregor
With no speaking.
We will not hear Conor McGregor.
Oh, and they don't have to pay you on Actors Guild unless you actually talk.
Unless
right?
you have to speak.
He's
I believe
getting
that's
paid.
true.
He ain't doing that show without getting paid. Conor McGregor doesn't get out of bed for less than $250,000. I'm telling you.
Another fighter has decided to retire. This is Anna Panda Elmose.
Didn't we just see her fight?
She did just fight. She fought November 19th against Amanda Cooper, where she lost. That was UFC Fight Night 99. She also lost to a KO to Jermaine Durandame back in May. She has just said that basically this is it. That she's retiring as a fighter. Understood. I no longer have the necessary desire to will to win or hunger to compete.
Well, then it's time to go.
Time to go. Which Dana White has obviously been very open about,
yeah.
very vocal about that. If fighters don't have that will, they need to go.
Yeah.
He says she says when I entered the octagon in Belfast, I didn't have any kind of buzz at all. I just felt flat. It was a weird experience because I didn't understand it at first. When I knocked my opponent down and I didn't rush in to finish the fight as I usually do, I knew my edge and desire were gone.
See, and that's something we when we're watching the fights, that's what we look for.
Yeah.
You can see when these people, when they come to the cage door, you know, is it
Are they there?
popping? Is it popping, you know, or is it just like
Motivated BJ or non-motivated? That guy, he's the definition of that, though. You can tell when he's walking down the ramp. You can just look at him and go, he's going to murder someone or he's going to fucking lose.
Yeah.
You just tell by looking at him.
Lorenz Larkin is a free agent waiting on offers.
All right.
I guess continuing to wait. I don't know. Lorenz Larkin.
Can we send one in to him?
Does anybody care?
We can send,
I mean, Lorenz Larkin, he's a decent fighter, but I don't feel like he's
he's got a win over Neil Magny, Jorge Masvidal, and Albert Timonov.
He lost to Albert Timonov.
Sorry, lost to Albert Timonov.
He was on his last contract. He says he might go out there and look. They're seeking interest from everywhere else, but they have not received an offer from the UFC. So Lorenz Larkin will not be shaving that a bell-shaped thing in his head anymore, at least for a little while.
Maybe we can offer him to be on the podcast and he can shave his
Our
bell-shaped
podcast
thing.
logo?
Yeah, our podcast logo. That works better than the bell thing.
The Bell was one of his sponsors back in the day.
Taco Bell?
I don't think it was Taco Bell.
Ghetto Larkin?
That'd be weird. What else we got going on? We'll get to that.
I'm really proud of you really doing real reporter work without a net. That's awesome.
Like having actually
good. I like that we still know what you're going to talk about, but you have no idea what you're going to talk about.
Gonna figure it all out. So this story came to us, sort of, and then we had to figure out the real story.
We had to sift through the bullshit.
MMAAA was hit with a cease and desist. They were hit with a cease and desist from the MMAFA. No other organization, not the UFC. The UFC still hasn't responded.
We call that the LFA.
Basically, what I read and found is that so the MMAFA hit the MMAAA with the cease and desist because the MMAFA is the one that is in the class action lawsuit currently with the UFC.
Oh, okay.
They said you're muddling the waters. either join our lawsuit or get out of the way and stop because you're causing us issues for our antitrust lawsuit. MMA AA said, no way, Jose. We are going to continue
they said,
on
no
the
way. FA.
Yeah. We're going to continue on our way.
On our way.
Pretty interesting stuff going on here.
So their VP is PO'd about some SOB.
Yes.
Sounds like both unions are SOL.
Rebney said that they approached the MMAFA originally to join them and to figure out what they could do. The lawyers said, no, we're in it for just this. We want this anti-class, trust lawsuit. That is all we're in it for. You should have your fighters join us. MMAA was like, no, we're here for fighters' rights and other things, not just your lawsuit. They went their separate ways. Now they're getting hit with this. We said this from the beginning. It's going to be really, really strange what goes on between the MMAA, MMAFA, and the PFA.
I want to see the PFA jump in this. Is it PFA or PFO?
PFA.
Association, not organization.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then Bjorn Remney has shots fired at Dana White over the past week as well.
Yeah, his stuff, I mean, overall, it's kind of funny. He kind of revealed their plan here. They said, we're not trying to be a union. But when we get our demands met and we reach an agreement, I mean, we're probably going to have to be a union.
No, that's not true. You can stay association.
That's how the NFL works. That's how Major League Baseball works. It's going to be a union. But you said from the beginning you're not trying to be a union. I don't know.
We're not trying to be.
But it's going to be
we're
that
just
way.
walking down the path that gets us there.
Yeah, it's going to be that way. Again, they want a 600% increase in fighter income. They're going to have a media campaign directed at making different, they said future television contracts problematic for the UFC. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see what all comes out of this. It's kind of funny too. Cowboy Cerrone said that he didn't even know he was on the sitting board.
Yeah, but that can't. I think this comes out after the tongue lashing from Dana, where Dana calls him out.
He said he had a phone call with Dana White, and he said,
"Hey, you fucking goof."
He said, "You know what? We have a good relationship." He said, "You can do whatever you want, but you probably should have called me when you decided to sign up with them. We could have talked. I thought we were on good terms and anything." And he says, "I didn't know I was sitting on a board. It kind of took me by surprise." He's like, "George and Tim asked me to be a part of it, and I just thought we were fighting for fighter rights." So I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we need a retirement pension and health care." I didn't know I was on a board. He's like, "I was not the one saying, we're going on strike. We need more money." He's like, "None of that came out of my mouth." He's like, "There's a couple people there that I don't plan on working with and being a part of. I'm not going to mention names right now." He's like, "I was mostly there, not saying I'm leading the board or even sitting on the board, but just voicing my opinion of what this sport needs. I will still stand strong and say this and what I believe we need. I believe we need health care. I believe we need some sort of pension for retirement. The UFC has been nothing but great for me. I can't complain. They give me what I want. They helped me out of a bind. It is what it is." So
I agree with it to an extent, simply because we have so many fighters that are that are even taking a loss on their fight camps just because they want to get big enough in the UFC to where they can make that serious money, and then too many of them end up without two nickels to rub together, either because they fall on financial hardships and can't continue to do what they're doing at this level or whatever. I mean, people have been crying for increased fighter pay for years, for a decade at this point.
yeah,
so I think it would be a good thing to give the fighters more money. Absolutely.
yeah, of course. Again, Tim Kennedy has come out and he said the UFC's been great to me as well. I'm just looking. I want to basically. He's like, I see some of these legends that need to be paid something. They're sitting around. They helped build the company, and now they have nothing.
Like Chuck Liddell. Well, I'm not saying Chuck has nothing.
No, yeah.
But he just got let go by the company.
Jeff Stanley said they're here for justice and $30 million.
$30 million.
Which one? The MMAAA, the MMA PFA, the MMA LLA? What do we got?
No, it's LFA.
Elemental POCO, FFFA, MMA?
LFA.
Pick some consonants or vowels, Jeff. What do you want?
Some good news here. We got Angela Overkill Hill, who's now 6-2, is coming back into the UFC. She's going to return on 3 weeks' notice to fight Jessica Aronde, UFC 207, December 30th. She was the strawweight champion over in Invicta, earned her way up to there. Now, it was on the Ultimate Fighter.
This girl was on the Ultimate Fighter with like 0 professional fights.
Yep.
And now she's 6-2 and held a belt in Invicta. So good for her.
It's gonna be a good fight. I'm excited for her.
Yeah.
We have John Jones, official. He is going to be suspended for 1 year by the Nevada State Athletic Commission due to his contaminated pills.
I keep seeing him going against Dan Hardy on the Underground. Does that actually happen, Submission Underground? Or has it already happened?
No, I thought he's taking on Henderson.
Yeah, I thought he's taking on Hendo.
I'm sorry, Henderson.
Yeah, Dan Henderson.
So that is happening.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's happened already. I believe it's gonna happen.
Okay.
It's coming up soon.
December 11th.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
I know
all
it's like this weekend or
Oh,
next
it's this
weekend or
weekend.
something
Shit,
like
all
that.
right, cool.
So, I mean, what do you think? Again, John Jones is suspended for another year? Like,
I'm not going to put any more bets on the table of him never coming back because I'm already going to owe you another $10 in like just a couple of days here. So I'm good.
Dana White recently came out and said, first of all, we had Cyborg demanding that the UFC create a 145-pound title and division for her. Otherwise, she was going to look elsewhere for fights. Dana White came out and said, okay, what's crazy is I offered her a title fight at 145. We decided we were going to make a 145-pound division just for her because she could not make 135, even though we've offered dietitians and all these people to help her get down to the weight. So we offered her a fight to fight Holly Holm.
At 145?
At 145
Wow.
for the first ever women's 145-pound belt in the UFC at Brooklyn to UFC 208. She turned it down. We also had offered her an 8-week notice to fight Jermaine Demandrme. She turned it down as well. She goes, if you can't make weight in 8 weeks, you do not belong in the 45-pound division.
That's insane.
She needs to figure out what it is.
Because even the whole video we watched last time of her having trouble making weight, it was from 145 to 140. Because it was the catch weight last time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem to me that 145 was the hard part for her.
But you know how long it was taking her to get down to the 145
Right.
for that catch weight?
They said she was having a hard time doing it. She cut down to 140. She can't make 140. We said, fuck it. We'll make it a 145-pound title for you. She says, I can't make 145 pounds in 8 weeks.
What she needs to do is just go back up to whatever weight she's most comfortable at and just fight Gabby Garcia over and over and over.
That's her friend.
Until the universe explodes. You know what I mean?
Holly Holm was excited for the fight, even though her coach said, I don't think that's the right fight we need right now. We went Jermaine Demandrme. Jermaine Demandrme wants the fight.
All right, Jermaine Demandrme and Holly Holm at 145. Winner gets the belt. And then that'll bait Cyborg to come back and
do
fight.
something.
Yeah.
And she did finally come out and said she can only make weight with 12 weeks notice. She can't do it in 8 weeks. She said...
I'm lost in the math.
She said, she almost died the last cut, dropping 24 pounds in a week.
To 140.
Dropping 24 pounds in a week. She couldn't even warm up in the backstage because she was too weak. Her blood was too thick to even be drawn after the fight. She was under treatment for 10 days to a doctor. All these things. She said, they invited me to fight again, but it wasn't my weight class. It wasn't my belt, but it was 10 weeks notice. I was still recovering. There's no way I was going to be able to make that weight cut.
Somebody give her Rumble Johnson's number. 225 to 170.
So here's the thing. You can't
Made it
now.
like twice.
She cannot say
Still did it.
that the UFC is dicking her around, not giving her a title, not giving her good
Right.
fights. They offered her 2 title fights at her weight class to create a division for her, and she says, I can't make weight.
She needs to fight Conor McGregor at 155.
Jeff said, tell her to calm her balls down.
I'm telling you, put her against Conor McGregor at 155. It's a fight that needs to happen.
So, the hearing...
What does she walk around at?
I don't know.
She had to cut 24 pounds in a week to get to 140.
Yeah.
So what does she walk around at?
170?
So
I'm going to say 170.
So she only cut 6 pounds the weeks leading up to that last week? No fucking way. She might walk around like 180, 185.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm not dogging on her.
No,
I'm
she's
saying
a pretty good-sized girl.
I'm curious. If she cut 24 pounds in a week, she was also cutting leading up to that week. She might walk around at like 185.
Wow.
She's a big broad,
She's
dude.
a big girl.
She would knock me the fuck out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking some of the 115ers will knock you out.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that either.
And I really like you.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
The Congressional Subcommittee on Commerce, Manufacturing, and Trade held their Thursday meeting about mixed martial arts. This is where Congress got to meet about mixed martial arts. We talked about what's going on. They did talk about the Ali Act. They heard testimonies from Randy Couture, Jeff Novinsky, which is the UFC drug czar, treasurer of the Association of Boxing Commission, and neuropathologist Dr. Ann McKee, who talked about CTE in a separate kind of note about this whole thing.
Yeah, what does that have to do with the Ali Act?
They've had to put it in there. The congressman who brought this forward was Representative Michael Burgess from
it's
Texas.
Congress. They got to pork bill everything.
No,
you got to shove some other shit in there.
Couture went in and he was pretty good. He was pretty heartfelt. He said, you have a machine basically printing money. He says they don't want to give up the structure and power. Me, I was fortunate enough to be the top percent. I made a great living as a fighter, but the mid and lower tier fighters, they struggle. They can't fight enough times in a year to make a good living, especially with restrictive contracts that are out there relegating fighting to just for one promotion. I'm interested in changing the sport across every promotion for the future of all athletes, so they don't have to fight with a company over ancillary rights and some of the crap that I had to fight the company with. If you're not Ronda Rousey or Conor McGregor, you're getting the shaft. Everybody below that's not in the top is struggling. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. The only reason why Conor is getting bigger and better pieces is because he's backed it up. He said now...
No, it's not because he backs it up. It's because he's a fucking marketable piece.
He says now that he's covered under the Ali Act with boxing, I guarantee you, though, his contract with the UFC says he's not allowed to box. He's not allowed to do grappling tournaments or wrestling. How's that going to settle out? My quick question on that is, how are these guys committing, going into like Submission Underground and all these other tournaments? Obviously, they're getting allowed to do some of this stuff.
Well, they're getting permission.
Right.
It also says they're not allowed to ride motorcycles, but some of them, they're like, you can ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Or go diving a mile down, or riding 6G jets.
Yeah. Nowitzki
diving
came
a
out.
mile down?
Yeah.
You just scared me. You just triggered one of my fears.
Nowitzki came out and says, look, we have the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. It's officially recognized as the doping agency, anti-doping agency for the United States. It's one of the great beauties of our program. We don't police ourselves. We have independent authority. The guy, Representative Mark Wayne Millen, who has fought in MMA before, lower cards, not any big cards or anything, he says, well, how did Brock Lesnar get to pass his test in July and not have to test? And he goes, well, that's not necessarily true. He got a pass in terms of testing, but he was still tested and failed.
Right.
There's a big difference in what was going on before the USADA rules were instituted, so it was grandfathered out of requirement. He was treated like a new fighter. The congressman says, yeah, well, I believe it is. I can submit an article for the record. He says, Conor McGregor, he goes forward on Conor McGregor, and he says, as we've heard with Conor McGregor, he's never lost at 145 pounds. And because he made the UFC mad, they made him drop out of the top 10 ranking system.
What the fuck?
They do that all the time.
What?
He said we had their COO in my office, and I asked him about the ranking system. How is number 1 and number 5 fighting? How come it's not number 1 and 2 all the time? He says, we put the best fight forward for the fans to see. And he goes, look, I don't have a problem with that because it's called promoting, but how can you call it a championship when it's not number 1 and number 2?
This is a congressman saying this?
Yes.
All right.
Who fought in
nobody
MMA
explained the balloting system to him, and that those aren't actual rankings, and that those are a bunch of people that sit around that fill out cards.
He's saying they need an actual ranking, and it needs to be somebody outside the UFC.
And let's let Congress put that together with Common Core math.
Well, let's see who Donald Trump assigns to mixed martial arts.
Yeah. And then, of course...
We got Linda McMahon in the fucking cabinet, man.
Right.
Let's get Vince.
We also, again, we had, for some reason, CTE was brought up. She said it's a big problem in contact sports. It's only the tip of the iceberg. We have found CTE in only one fighter that we've examined so far.
But it's a huge problem in combat sports.
But it's a huge
We've
fighter.
only found it in one.
There is
one
good
fighter,
reason
though.
to believe a significant portion of over-MMA fighters are at risk because it's so new of a sport. So, again, it's been brought forward. The legislation process is going to start. We won't even get voted on until January. If the bill does come out of the committee, it will be voted on in the House. If it passes in the House, it'll get voted on the Senate. Passes the Senate, it gets put into Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who is big friends with Dana White. Who knows how it's going to go. He can veto sending it back. We'll see what happens.
Can he spell veto?
Little comment update.
Oh, yeah. Also, like this too, real quick. Randy Couture, when they asked him, how was your trip to the House? He says, I'd rather get punched in the face.
Really? Yeah. Interesting.
In our comment section, these guys are arguing. They think that CM Punk should fight Cyborg at 170. Right now, they have her ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want CM Punk murdered? The guy threw one punch in his last fight, and he missed horribly.
And last little bit of news we get into.
It was like a fucking fake movie punch.
Last little bit of news before we get into the fights.
Or a WWE punch.
No, then he would have stomped his foot when he did it.
I don't even think Mickey gave him a chance to stomp his foot. Mickey just stomped his ass.
Yep.
Mio Meek, who's from Norway, known as Valhalla, was not allowed to bring his trademark axe to the media event, which he always likes to bring because he's a Viking. 2, they also told him he had to shave his face.
Why?
That because Ontario Athletic Commission rules say that all contestants must be cleanly shaven immediately prior to competition, except contestant can have a closely cropped mustache. So porn stashes are good, full beards are bad.
It's Ontario.
Wow.
He is upset. He says,
they might be hiding weapons of mass destruction.
I don't want to shave my
Viking
beard. He's like, I'm not fucking kidding. Even Sean Shelby says this is absolutely ridiculous. As much as I want to keep my beard, I'm more about fucking fighting. I'm going to fight. Bring back the beard. This is a picture of him here. You can see he always comes out carrying a giant axe. It's pretty awesome.
Your beard's not that long, dude.
It's pretty thick, man.
I think you could regrow that in just a couple of months. You'll be okay. It's Canada. You got to look presentable.
You gotta look presentable for Canada.
You also got to have your denim shirt tucked into your denim jeans.
Oh,
for media day.
Sorry.
Don't you know?
Sorry.
Could you imagine if he brought his fucking axe to media day on a day when Conor McGregor was fighting?
It'd get thrown.
Conor McGregor flying through the air with an axe.
UFC Fight Night 24. Let's go into the recap that we had here.
This one, we got 1.2 million views on this, whereas the Bellator only got around 500,000.
Yeah.
And they were head-to-head that night. So, interesting stuff there. Jumping off here with your preliminary card on Fox Sports 1. Everything was on Fox Sports 1 except for Fight Pass. Jamie Moyle and Kaylin Karam bloodied up the mat immediately.
Yeah, it was a great fight.
These girls went freaking beast mode. I thought Jamie Moyle, because of just the simple height and reach disadvantage, was going to get murdered. It was the exact opposite.
She held her own.
She put a hurting on Kaylin Karam.
She had a nice little cut, though, right there.
That's where with the mouse on the eye. Oh, she got a mouse.
Like I could have shoved my whole finger in, possibly a thumb.
How are you feeling? Just keep going.
Yeah.
She got a mouse. My girl who's learning MMA. Oh, she's got one of those mouse things on her eye, and it's popped. Oh God, it's so gross.
Yeah, in the MMA community, fuck you guys. We put a question out to you. All you guys kept doing was retweeting it. Nobody answered it.
Why is it a mouse on the face and a golf ball on the foot?
Right.
Somebody, please let us know.
If you know, anybody.
And the dong that can't be beaten, Hung Kim, up against Brendan O'Reilly, gets a unanimous decision in his favor. Rob, Comic Sans fonts, can we call him Comic Sans? Times New Roman gets a KO in the first round with a knee and some punches over Matt Schnell.
Wow.
Matt Schnell coming in short notice from The Ultimate Fighter, the only other person from The Ultimate Fighter on this finale.
Obviously went to The Ultimate Fighters 125, went up to 135 to make this fight.
And got beat up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Ryan Hall frustrating the MMA community.
And Gray Maynard.
To the point where people were beating their TVs to death.
Gray Maynard upset, says he got robbed.
I'm not going to say you got robbed, because on the feet, he still connected more than you did.
How many times, though, do you need to back up to let him stand back up?
Doesn't he just take a one step back?
Yeah, and like tell the ref I want him to stand. Like I'll wait for him to stand.
Yeah. This is where Sakuraba's jumping in would have come in handy.
Yeah.
But Ryan Hall, that's just what he does. Somebody posted an old video of Ryan Hall up against Nate Diaz in a grappling tournament.
Same thing.
He tried. He got kimura'd.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is it like
Gray Maynard? Maybe you need to do some jiu-jitsu, not just be a blue belt.
Yeah.
Your whole life.
Well, let's put Ryan Hall up against a legitimate jiu-jitsu contender and see what happens there. But he was landing those kicks perfectly against Gray Maynard's face, so he deserved the win, as frustrating as it was. I never, ever want to see this guy fight for the championship. Ever. Brandon Moreno gets a win over Ryan Benoit. Why is it Benoit with Ryan, but with Chris it's Benoit? Split decision in favor of Brandon Moreno. Sarah McMahon gets a submission win over Alexis Davis.
It's a good fight, man. I was excited to see this fight.
Alexis Davis doing well for her first fight back from having her baby.
Yeah.
And then Jared Cannonier up against Ian Kutabala. This was a unanimous decision in favor of Jared. These were the big guys, right? Wasn't it? Yeah.
Light heavies. Yeah, they look big, though. I thought it was huge. Heavyweight at first. I walked out from the back room and I was like, oh, heavyweight? Light heavyweight? What the?
Yeah, they look really, really big.
They look giant.
Throwing some big punches, too. And then George Masvidal taking on Jake Ellenberger.
We got to talk about this fight, because Jake Ellenberger is going to try to appeal this fight.
Cagegate?
He went in for a flying knee, some sort of kick, something. Slid in and got his foot caught, his toes caught in the cage, and his foot wedged between the mat and where the cage meets.
I thought he was going to try to slide tackle
like this. Yeah. And he immediately tried to pull and could not
move. He
pulled got down on one knee, turned, and immediately started trying to pull his foot out.
Yep.
George Masvidal runs over, starts punching him in the head. He's still trying to pull his foot out. He goes to put his hands up. Herb Dean calls the fight.
But
no. Herb Dean said timeout. Even walks over and says, "I'm calling a malfunction."
No. Called the fight, said it was over, timeout. Walked over and says, "Can I say that this is a equipment malfunction?" They said no. He says, "Then it's a TKO stoppage because I stopped the fight."
Right.
But he also says it's a weird freak accident. I don't know how this is going to go when it goes to a commission. It's not referee error. Technically, it was a TKO.
It was a malfunction.
Not defending yourself, but it's not a personal equipment malfunction. I don't know. It's going to be. I think this one should be easily overturned.
Yeah, to a no contest.
To a no contest.
Somebody posted a gallery on Reddit of similar cage issues that have happened in the past with this weird cage gap. It doesn't always show up, but it does occasionally. So this was something that was just bound to happen. It only took 200 and fucking however
this
many
was.
fights
I mean, how many fights before they started putting the pin in the door because guys fell through?
Yeah.
I mean, we had Joe Riggs almost die because he fell on his head one time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
we're still learning
until they started to put the pin in when they closed the gate.
What they need to have is like a dip of about that much to where the fence can go in.
I don't
know. It's underneath.
Like a well?
It was
like
just
a well,
it was what if your foot gets stuck in that?
Or a moat.
What if your foot gets stuck in that?
Make it just as thin as the fence so it locks in place.
I don't know.
It's a toe moat.
I think this should be overturned in no contest. Personal opinion.
I agree. I do agree. Then we move on to the coaches fight. Joseph Benavidez up against Henry Cejudo.
Henry Cejudo says he got robbed.
Split decision in favor of Joseph Benavidez. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Don't let it go to decision.
I thought it was a pretty good fight.
I mean, I was happy I got to drink according to our drinking rules. It was a split decision.
Yes, that's right. It was an evenly matched fight. I didn't know where it was going to go when the judges came out and said it was split decision.
It was tough, yeah.
But when they said Joseph Benavidez, I just kind of shrugged and was like, okay, cool.
No, when it's a fight like this, I mean, you could sit there and like you're scoring when you talk about going minute by minute by minute, and we can play the game backwards and forward. But when it is a fight like this, just don't leave it to the judges.
Yeah.
Finish it somehow.
I think anybody.
And I heard both corners in the last round telling them it's the last 2 minutes.
Yeah,
let's do something.
Come on,
make it happen. Demetrius Johnson still proving he is the baddest pound for pound fighter on the planet, but Tim Elliott did last to decision.
I will give Tim Elliott all the credit in the world, man. That guy did everything in his power possible to win this fight. He was diving from submission to submission. Not caring about Demetrius Johnson getting on his back, was able to chuck and move and get change it up quite a bit. One of the things
how many times do you think it was over for Tim?
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, he's got it now. Like that one, it was deep under the neck. I was like, oh, and he ended up turning it. And I was like, oh damn. Yeah. The one that impressed me the most was when he was on his back and Tim's sitting down and he's able to throw his own knee up to Demetrius Johnson's head. I've never seen that. I was like, that is some flexibility, man.
That's some serious flexibility.
Yeah, and they were so sweaty in the 4th and 5th. I never really was worried about the submission at that point because when
he had him in the crucifix, I was like, this is where he'll finish it.
Right.
And he still slipped on out, man.
Yeah,
and Tim in the first 2 rounds, I thought did very, very well. Took it to Demetrius Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he hurt him, right?
Yeah.
He actually has I
think he has an injury,
a LCL tear or something.
It was a great fight, though.
And now we'll see Tim go up to 135.
He would like to go back to 135. We also had Bellator
What do you do with Demetrius Johnson at this point, man?
Let him fight Cruz.
Yeah, he wants them super fights now. Super fights.
That's it? Just super
for a little while.
Yeah, and because he's somebody who will defend, he'll get to actually walk around with both belts.
Well, because he can't fight anybody else at 125.
Well, he can. They just won't win.
Well, this is going to be a movie story where some Shaolin monk shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question that somebody asked me. If he does want to fight at 135, does he have to be 135 to fight?
Who? Demetrius Johnson?
Yeah. Can he show up to a 135 fight and be his regular weigh-in?
You have to be 126. It's 126 to 135. Now, if it's a title fight, you have to be in. And if it's in New York, you have to be within 5 pounds.
5 pounds.
So can he come in with sweats and weights in his pocket?
Sure. As long as it's not New York. New York, you have to be within 5. And if it's a title fight, you have to be within a certain amount. Okay. So if he's going to go against Dominic Cruz at 135, he's going to have to come in at 135. So we have Bellator coming up. We have UFC Fight Night going on right now.
Right now, yeah. UFC Fight Night 102 happening.
This is going on.
Are we going to talk about the Bellator from last week? Or
on Fight Pass? We can.
I don't remember who fought. Oh,
Yeah.
You got 166 and 167 happened last week.
So
This is the one that's happening tomorrow.
no, this is the one that just happened.
this fight has results.
This is results. This is UFC, or excuse me, Bellator 167 happened on the 3rd of December. That was the one we have Darian Caldwell against Joe Taimangelo, right? Taimangelo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arangelo and Lamangelo.
John Texera over Justin Lawrence are your two main card fights. They're everything pretty much decision on that. I think there's two KOs. So we also have Bellator going down tomorrow night. We have UFC on Fight Pass like right now, and we have UFC 206 going down Saturday night. So let's go over UFC.
Let's just jump on the main card here.
Main card, yeah.
With Guillen Viante going up against Suparbek Safarov. Where's this happening at, by the way?
You would think you would think some are crazy. Albany, New York.
Oh, so this is the second card in New York. Okay.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson taking on Sean O'Connell. Mm-hmm. Francis Ngannou taking on Anthony Hamilton, no relation, and Derek Lewis taking on Shamazel something Incorporated.
Abdu Makhmerov.
Yes. So I'm taking the Black Beast tonight anyway.
Yeah. Derek Lewis.
You guys just killing people.
Also going down tomorrow.
Your Bellator.
Yeah, Bellator kickboxing as well as Bellator MMA going on at the same time.
This one's being headlined by Alessio Sakara and Joey Beltran.
This is going down in Italy.
In Italy, okay.
Kind of cool, man.
Let's hope that Alessio Sakara escapes with both of his balls.
I feel like this fight should have happened like
Forever ago?
8 years ago.
Yeah.
So they're not calling these dynamites every time they do them?
No.
Okay.
Italy. Bellator in Italy.
Bellator in Italy. UFC 206.
I wonder what the draw is for MMA in Italy.
I don't know. They have that weird Italian fight league where it's like they fight on a field while playing soccer or something like that, right?
Yeah. Isn't that just once a year, though? Or is it all the time?
I think they started a league.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That shit's nuts.
You have UFC 206. Have some news to go about that. The main event has been
Main event's fucked.
kind of canceled, but not really. Max Holloway and Anthony Pettis are still going to fight. Anthony Pettis could not make weight. This is becoming a catch weight at 148. If Max Holloway wins, he will get to have the interim featherweight belt.
Okay.
Anthony Pettis, has to surrender 20% of his purse, and if he does win, will not get the belt.
Who's the other two people that missed weight? I thought we had three total that missed weight.
Yeah, you have Jason Sago and Rustamom Kamalibov.
Okay.
The Kamalibov missed weight. This is going to be a catch weight at 158 instead of 155. And the 115-pound girls bout, Valerie Latanu missed weight. This is going to be a 117.5 catch weight against Vivian Pereira. Also on your Fox Sports 1 prelims, Mitch Gagnon against Matthew Lopez, Oliver Abian Mercier against Drew Dauber, and Nikita Krylov against Misha Krukranov.
All right, well, I'm going to go Gagnon, Latornu, Dauber, and Krylov.
All right. I'll go Gagnon, Lutanu. Yeah, I kind of going the same on the prelims.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jumping on your main card here.
Mac Desi down there in the Fight Pass card though, and as well as
headlining the Fight Pass card.
Zach Makovsky. Check those fights out. Those are some good guys to keep an eye on.
All right. Oh,
main card.
Ortiz too. All right.
Yeah.
Main card. Jordan Mean taking on Emil Meeks.
Who won't have his beard, so I think he's going to lose.
Or his ex.
Oh, the Samson effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. TK, Tim Kennedy going up against Kevin Gastelum.
Kevin Fatboy Gastelum.
Yeah.
Who's going to shamu him?
LK El Gordo, aka Cake Boy.
Did you see the stare down picture with Tim Kennedy? Yeah. Him walking up to Dana White? That was awkward.
I'm gonna take Tim Kennedy.
Someone's got to take their stare down picture and then have Gastelum staring at him, and then like him turn into a cheeseburger,
right?
Or a steak or something.
I don't know, man. I think this has been one of those things like Gladiator style, where Dana White's gonna have somebody like shiv Tim Kennedy on the side.
He says his relationship with UFC is actually pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm told I'm jacked to watch Kennedy fight. I'm interested to see how he did with his whole time off, chasing Hitler, and then coming back, and he really hasn't fought nobody in what, almost 2 years.
I think what we're going to see happen here though is Tim Kennedy's going to come into the cage, and like after the first round, did they make it out of the first round? He's going to go to sit on a stool, and whoever Dana White paid is going to pull it off from underneath him.
He's got $1 million baby it.
I don't know if it's going to be that bad. Ouch. This is just speculation.
Cub Swanson against Doo Ho Choi.
Doo Ho Choi is... People were posting things like, oh, don't forget, Cub Swanson can knock people out. Doo Ho Choi is very confident that he will put Cub Swanson to sleep in this fight.
I got to go with the SoCal Swanson.
Right. Is Doo Ho Choi, is that the Korean Wonder Boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
And this stare down was definitely intense.
Donald Cerrone and
Matt the Immortal Brown
had
a nice stare down to which Donald Cerrone just kind of giggled at him.
Yeah.
And it was time to turn.
Hey, guess what? His eye looked fine.
Yeah, right? I can't believe Tito Ortiz, or not Tito Ortiz, what the hell am I saying? Joe Rogan had to officially address that on his podcast.
Yeah.
Come on, people. Use your heads.
He also had a big BMF
Fished
bad
in.
motherfucker tattoo on his neck, and everyone's like, oh, wait, where'd it go?
That's great.
It's for a movie.
Yeah, so Donald Cerrone and Matt Brown had a nice stare down. When it was time to turn and face the crowd, Matt Brown wouldn't.
Yeah.
And Donald Cerrone looked at him and laughed and said, bro, we're not fighting until Saturday. And then Matt Brown begrudgingly turned to face the crowd. Said that Donald Cerrone's fake. Everything he says is fake.
It's too close to Thanksgiving to be such a jive turkey. Come on.
I don't know. I got Cerrone in this fight.
You got Cerrone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I don't see Matt Brown knocking him out. And that's his only chance of beating him.
All right.
And then, of course, your main event is Holloway going up against...
Pettis' weight cut looked bad again
Yeah.
at 145. He needs to go back to 155. I know he's trying to be competitive. He did well, even though he missed weight the first time too, right? Or almost missed weight.
No, he didn't miss weight the first time.
He just looked horrible.
He just looked really
Yeah,
bad.
he looked bad.
We all thought he was going to die.
He looked that way today when I
Okay.
saw him on the scale as well. So I just don't think 145 is the weight for him. I'm taking Max Holloway.
I'm going Holloway. Holloway's on a huge win streak. Holloway gets the belt if he wins, and Holloway made weight. So
Does Holloway go against Aldo anytime soon? A. And B, if that fight does happen, how does he do?
I don't know, man.
You think Aldo's ever going to fight again?
He
He says he's happy now because he's got his belt.
That's all he wanted.
He won't fight with Conor. Since Conor's going to drop the belt, then he's gonna be fine.
And Rory goes down.
Rory goes down.
Down goes the Red King. I don't know. I think yes, that fight does happen. How does he do up against Aldo? That's too hard to decide because we haven't seen Aldo fight.
Aldo in a while, yeah.
Except for the knockout from Conor, we haven't seen him do shit.
Sure.
You know, the guy was the most dominant, he didn't lose the belt for like 10 years because he didn't
Right.
fight.
I got you.
know, so we'll see what happens. That pretty much wraps it up. Big thanks for everybody who listened. Tell your friends. You can find us anywhere podcasts are broadcast. And Diaz we trust, of course. SplitDecisionMMA.com, Split Decision MMA Podcast on Facebook, SD_MMA on Instagram and Twitter. Big thanks to My MMA News as well as Strongboard Balance. Change the way you work out. Get on board. StrongboardBalance.com. Check out their Instagram as well. You can win yourself one against StrongboardBalance.com. That's pretty much it from the Ruloff Family Inc. Studios. Bueller and Dodge, and have a good night. We'll see you at the fights.